Hey guys, Phillip Haumesser here, and I'm going to go ahead and do another demonstration for my magical snow overlays. I've had a few people saying that my other demonstration was a little too confusing. That it's completely understandable. I keep forgetting that some people are going to be using these overlays, maybe new to Photoshop or editing software in general. So if that's the case, I want to go ahead and do another demonstration and try to keep that in mind and make this a little simpler for you guys and really explain things. If you are new to Photoshop, I do have a basics Photoshop tutorial in my photography course. The whole course is free. If you want to sign up for that, just go to my website at philiphaumesserphotography.com/gift, and you can have full access to that. It's over 4 hours of content as of right now. I'm considering redoing the whole thing or adding to it. I'm not sure. But it will still have a basics Photoshop tutorial in there. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and go sign up for that. Again, it's free, unlimited access. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. When you download the Magical Snow overlays, it'll come in a zip file. And when you open up that zip file, you'll have these folders right here. And I have light snow, normal snow, and heavy snow for the snow overlays. And then I have this quick snow, which is really nice if you're in a hurry and you don't have time to really commit to making it look really realistic. You can just drop these in there and they still look great, and go ahead and go. And then I have these micro snowflakes and frosted windows. So let's go ahead and open some of these up and see what we're doing here. See what we're dealing with here. Actually, let's start with the quick snow. I want to open these up and just show you what these are. Most snow overlays are going to be like this. You get just the basic overlay. You drop this in there, and you're good to go. You just it's that simple. And so I wanted to include these for that. So I think I have 6 of these in here. Here's they're just kind of random, different, a little bit different. Here's a little heavier with some wind. Here's lighter. Here's a little kind of in between. Here's another one that's just random, a little different. Another kind of lighter one with some puffy snow in it. And I think this was the one I started out with. So let's go ahead and go back. So these are really great. I use these all the time if I'm in a hurry and I just got to go just drop those in there. But these other 3 right here, these are fun. These are more customizable. I have 9. Oh, actually, I think there's only 7. However many there are in here. There should be 9. Yeah, there's 9 of them. Sorry, my eyes are on backwards. 9 of them. What this is it starts close to the camera, and they get farther and farther and farther back. And so you have control over, let's say if you're shooting in a narrow depth of field, the ones that are closer to the camera are going to be blurred out, and the ones that are farther away from the camera are going to be blurred out, and then the ones in the middle are going to be in focus. So, and that's going to be different depending on where your focus plane is. So if you're taking a portrait and the person's face is next to the camera, it might be this one or this one that's in focus. If your character is farther back, it might be this one or this one that's in focus. So that's why I say it's more customizable. Also, you can paint these in and paint them out. So if there's things that are, let's say you've got your background here and then there's trees in the way or something like that are closer to the camera, you don't want this snow that's going to be in the background in front of those trees. So I'll demonstrate how that is all going to work here in a little bit. But that was light snow. Actually, I should open some of these up and show you. Like I say, it starts by the camera here and it starts going back. And don't worry if it doesn't look like snow right now, because we're going to be modifying these. And don't get scared about the word modify, because there's not that much to it. And it just gets farther and farther and farther back to the camera, and then we're back to the beginning. So let's go ahead and check out the normal snow, and I think this is the one I'm going to be demonstrating today. Same thing. You just start from the front. It's the same thing, just with a little bit more snow. Go ahead and go to heavy. And this is just heavier. Whoops, I didn't mean to open that up in Photoshop just yet. Same thing, just heavier, thicker snowfall. So, and then I'll go ahead and go just quickly over these. I'm not going to demonstrate these. My micro snowflakes, this was just an idea I had when I created these. It was more of a challenge. I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could do these, but I modeled 8 different snowflakes in 4 different perspectives. And I don't know if you'll ever need these for anything. I've only used them a handful of times. But these are PNGs, and they're already cut out. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So if you drop them in Photoshop, they're already cut out and ready to go. And these are pretty high detailed. You can zoom way up on these, and I spent a lot of time modeling them. So they're pretty cool. I just don't know what you would do with them, but they're there, available for you if you need them. And like I said, there's 8 different ones. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll just kind of randomly look at these. So you got they're each just different designs. It was more of just a fun thing I wanted to throw in there. You might find a use for them. and then my last folder is frosted windows, and this was just kind of an afterthought. I had a few of these photos and I dropped them in there. So if you had basically the idea behind it, if you have a window and you need it to be frosty looking, you can say drop this one or this one in there and just paint out the middle and have some frosty windows in there. But I'm not going to be demonstrating those today. I'm going to just kind of be sticking with the snow overlays. I'm going to start actually with the quick snow and just grab one, and I'm going to drag it over to Photoshop and just drop it right in the picture right here. And it'll drop it in there. You press enter and it's in there. Now for whatever reason, when you drop a photo into Photoshop on top of another photo like that, it automatically turns it into a smart layer or smart object, whatever you call it. If you see this little icon in the bottom right corner here, it's converted it to a smart layer. I'm not sure why, but you can right click that and click rasterize layer and it'll go back to normal. So if you have that dropped in here and you change the blending mode to screen, now it's applied. And it looks great. Just right out of the box, you drop it in there and looks great. You have the snow there in focus, out of focus, and it looks amazing. So that's the quick snow overlays. Very, very useful. We'll go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to go ahead and go back and demonstrate the customizable ones. I'm going to go ahead and grab all of these. I may not use all of them, but I'll go ahead and drop them all in there in case I need them. Drop all 9 of them in there and just press enter until all of them are loaded up. And with this top one selected, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, press shift and click the bottom one, and that way it'll select all of them. And we'll go ahead and rasterize those as well because it converted them too. And since we have them all selected, go ahead and go to the blending mode, click the screen, and it'll go ahead and cut those all out. And you can see them here. Now it doesn't look great yet because we haven't done any of the customization to it yet. And since we still have all these selected, go ahead and press Option G if you're on a Mac, and it'll group them all into a folder. You can double click that and name it if you like. And we can just open that back up and have them all in there. And I'm going to go ahead and click all these off so we can just work on one at a time. And this is obviously way more time consuming, but it's very rewarding in the end because I really like the control we have over them. So the idea here, this one being the farthest point, this is going to be in the background, way back by these trees that are blurred out in here. Now when I shot this photo, I shot with a very wide aperture. I think it was wide open on my 135 millimeter 2.0 lens. I shot this at 2.0, so the background's blurred out, the foreground's blurred out, and my subjects are in focus. So we want to match this focus plane here. So these snowflakes are going to be way off in the background, so they're going to be blurred out. Now they're not going to be in front of them or in front of these trees here, and it's not going to be up here in the foreground. So we're going to paint them out of the areas that we don't need them in. So we can go ahead and add a layer mask here. And I'll go ahead and quickly explain a layer mask in case you don't understand. First off, these are all layers. This is my photo layer, and this is the snow layers, and this is a layer mask. And what all the mask is it's the ability to paint in and out parts of the layer. So right now it's white. If I invert it and turn it to black, it'll all go away. And so I'm going to paint black in here to paint out certain spots. Or I could convert it to black and paint the white to paint snow in. I'm going to go ahead and paint out, so I want to keep it to white. And I can select my brush tool by pressing B, which I already have it. And we need the color black. And over here it shows that it's white. And we want it black. So if you press X, it'll go ahead and turn that to black. And I'm going to take my brush here, and I'm going to paint the snow off of my subjects and off of the areas I don't want the snow to be in. So just paint this off of my boys over here. It was snowing this day before we got here. By the time we got to the Fine Forest, it stopped snowing. I was really disappointed because I wanted to capture the snow. But I have snow overlays, so I went ahead and put them on there. Go ahead and paint the snow off of these trees here in the foreground. I'm going to paint them off of these trees as well. And we can use this layer mask on other layers as well. I'll just copy them on the other layers if I need to. And I'm going to paint it off of the foreground here. I'm considering this tree here, but I think I'll just go ahead and leave it for now. It's far enough back there. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I'm obsessive compulsive. I could spend the entire day on this one photo. I'm not going to though. So now that we've done that, make sure your layer is selected. We're going to blur it out. We're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm going to set the blur amount to 6. We'll start at 6. So I'm trying to match where about these back trees are. So they're blurred out now. Go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to go ahead and go to Filter, Blur, and Motion Blur because the snow is falling, and I want to be able to see that it's falling a little bit. So I don't know if you can see, it's way back there, so it's very hard to see it, but you need it to be there for it to be realistic. You should be able to see a preview in here. Here we go. So you can see there it is. You can turn the preview on and off so you can see it being applied here. So that's about where we want it. And this is the angle that it's going to be going in. So if the wind, just pretend that the wind is blowing in that direction, or you can go in that direction, you can just wherever you want. And set the distance to 20. Hit OK. So there we go. That's our first layer. That's the background layer. And I want to go ahead and put another background layer. We'll go to background 2. By the way, 1 is closer to the camera, 2, 3 is farther away. So if that makes any sense at all. Go ahead and turn on the next layer. Select that layer. And we can just hold Alt and grab the layer mask and drop it on the next layer, and it'll just copy that layer mask on there. So do you see what it did there? It went ahead and cut everything out for us, so we don't have to do that over again. And I'm going to show you what I painted here. So if it didn't make sense, I painted where the trees are, I painted where my boys were at, so hopefully that'll kind of make sense to you. In case you're wondering how I did that, I press Alt and press your layer mask, and it'll show you what you painted on. So I'm going to go ahead and select that mask. Go ahead and go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we're going to drop this down a little bit. Maybe like 5, 6, because it's a little bit closer to the camera, but not by much. Go ahead and go to Blur, Motion Blur, and I'm going to change the angle a little bit this time, because when snow falls, they kind of get blown in different directions, and so I want to try to match that as much as I can. Go ahead and click OK, and we'll go on to the next one. Background layer 3. Now this is getting a little bit closer to my subjects here, my boys. I'm going to stop calling them subjects, they're my boys. Go ahead and copy that layer mask on there too. But I'm going to actually paint white on some of these areas because now we're getting close to like this tree here. Whoops, I'm going to make sure my layer mask is selected. Oh, wrong color. Press X to get white and paint on these trees because they're a lot closer now. Oops, I don't want it on this tree. Gotta be careful there. Okay, that's good. I'm going to make sure my layer is selected. You want to make sure your layer is selected and not your layer mask when you blur it, because if you do, it'll blur out your layer mask and not your layer, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, guys. This stuff takes practice, you know, just like anything else, so don't feel bad if you don't get this right away. So go ahead and go to Blur, Gaussian Blur, drop the radius on this blur down a little bit more, maybe, yeah, about 4.6, and go ahead and go Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, and maybe have these go over here a little bit. You could even have it go in the other direction like that. I've had some do that. I've seen snow do that before. It goes in all different directions. We'll actually do that. We'll let it go this way a little bit. Go ahead and click OK. And this, let's see. I believe I'm going to let this one be my middle focus plane. So it's in focus. This one is going to be in focus. So this one, I actually want, I'm not going to paint it out over the trees. I want it to be in front of them. I want it to be over the trees. But I don't want it in my foreground here. So it would look weird. See, I see some of the snow right here. And I see some of it over here, right here in my foreground. That wouldn't happen in real life. It would be blurred out. So I'm actually going to just add a new layer mask and just paint that out here in my foreground. Just paint it out up to where about their feet are, because that's where the focus plane is at. So just paint like that. All I did was paint black line at the bottom. And we'll go ahead and go to Filter, and we're not going to blur it this time because it's in the focus plane. It's going to be in focus, but it's still going to have motion blur. So we'll add the motion blur. I'll have it go in this direction, and it doesn't need to be falling as fast as the others. I want actually drop this down to about 10. That way it's more in focus, because I want it to be in focus. It's on my focus plane. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next one. Middle 2. So notice I have these named foreground, middle, and background. So these are the ones I've determined are going to be closest to the middle, foreground, and the background. Go ahead and we're going to go ahead and blur this one a little bit. It's a little closer to the camera now. So I'm going to have this one blurred to about maybe 3. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put a motion blur on this one. But after that, I probably won't be applying motion blur anymore, because it's going to be so blurred out, it's not going to matter that you're not going to be able to see much of a difference at all. So it's not going to matter that much. I hope that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but just trust me. And we don't need to, at this point, actually, I'm going to go ahead and copy this layer mask onto there. But from this point out, I want it to cover the whole scene. Foreground, background, them, everything. So we'll go ahead and add this one. Turn it on, go to blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm going to jump it back up to 5. Where's it at? Yep, 5 looks good. Go to foreground 3, next one up, turn it on, Gaussian blur, and bring this one up to like a 7, because they're getting closer and closer to the camera. The closer to the camera they get, the more blurred out they're going to be. So go on to the next one, foreground 2. These are going to be real close to the camera. Gaussian blur. Go ahead and make this one like a, let's see. So I have one more after that one. So I want this one to be pretty blurred out. Okay. And then this last one, foreground, it is right next to the camera. So these suckers are going to be way blurred out. So I'm going to set this to like something like that. So you see the white puffy. I want to be able to see the white puffy bokeh of those snowflakes. There we go. So you see the puffy snowflakes there. Okay. So there we go. That do we use all of these? I think we did. I did. I used every single one of them. You don't have to use every single one of them. In fact, you can mix these and match them however you want. You can put like really thick snow in the background and light ones in the front, or vice versa. You can do whatever you want to with these. But that is how you use the snow overlays. I hope it made more sense this time around. So here's without, here's with. And so I like, it just seems to be a lot more realistic. And anybody I've showed these to, everybody thinks it's real. And everybody says the same thing when I tell them that it's not, is they say, anytime I see anybody fake snow, it always looks fake. But they say with mine, they can't ever tell. It always looks real. And I think it's because I put so much detail into, so much work into having it in the foreground and the background, painting it out and in where it needs to be. So I wanted to make this available to you guys too, so you can have more realistic snow in your scenes. And again, if this is confusing to you, if the Photoshop is confusing to you, I would encourage you to go ahead and sign up for my free course at philiphaumesserphotography.com/gift. It has that basic Photoshop tutorial in there. Hopefully that'll explain things a little bit better. And if you are interested in these overlays, just go to my website. There should be a link in the description below. I haven't used YouTube in a while. I might be able to put a link up here somewhere and you just click and it takes you there. And you can download it and start applying snow to your scenes. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you start applying these to your photos. I love seeing your guys' photos, by the way. Those of you who have already downloaded it and started using it, you've sent me some of your photos and they look amazing. And I really like that and I appreciate it. Go post it on my site. I've got some, just go to the comment section where the overlays are at and post them there. I love to see those. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later.